Hey, deserving listeners, 90-Day Fiancé, bears all, let's watch. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. As I always say, everything that I say in these reaction videos is completely speculative based on very little information that the show deems to show us. Let's watch.
And didn't lie.
It is fucking bullshit.
And if you want to say it's not true, that's your right.
Yeah, because it wasn't true. I don't lie. I don't need to lie.
The messages don't lie. So
really?
I don't want to get
what was in the
that.
message? Messages. Oh, probably fake messages that they conspired on their own.
No, I've never met Tom before that. I was meeting with Tom for the first.
Okay, so Jesse's saying that he has seen messages. I'm guessing what he's referring to is looking at messages indicating flirtation or dating energy between Tom and Darcey while Jesse and Darcey were still dating. Did that happen? I don't know. I guess there's no way for us to know, but that's what he's referring to. Might there be a misinterpretation there? Might they have been doctored? Certainly that can happen. But I guess Tom and Jesse were talking together, so might there have been some misunderstanding on Tom's end of, Darcey could have been like, hey, yeah, let's meet up. And Tom is thinking, ooh, where's the date? And Darcey's like, no, it's not a date. I was still with Jesse. I don't know. I tend to believe Darcey when she's saying, I wasn't cheating. I've never cheated. I tend to believe her. She doesn't, at least on the show, exhibit that kind of behavior. Who knows? I mean, that's the nature of cheating. You hide it. And believe me, it's hard to detect a cheater. There's a stereotype of a cheater. The stereotype is often someone like Jesse. But believe me, people who engage in infidelity, run the gamut in terms of personality traits. You can have introverted people who are, cheating. You can have extroverted. You can have people who drink. You can have people who don't drink. You can have people who are, who exhibit all the stereotypes. You can have the person who's the opposite of the stereotypes, like a librarian who is very studious. That person can also cheat. So there's a lot of misconceptions, but I will say that given the breadth of time we've spent watching Darcey, I will say that there doesn't seem to be any other indication. Who knows?
First time in New York, when he reached out, he was like, Jesse, I know you're in New York. Let's meet up for coffee. I was like, all right, cool.
How you can be friends with somebody dating your ex-girlfriend?
I do not understand what you mean. I'm sorry.
So Florian is asking Jesse, how can you be friends with Georgie? That doesn't make any sense. Or how can you be friends with Tom? I think that's what he's asking. I don't know what Florian's asking. You certainly can be friends with someone who is dating your partner. It's unusual. It's suspicious, right? I think that's what Florian is getting at. I think he's getting at it's suspicious. It seems like you're up to no good. Like for you and Tom to be friends or you and Georgie to be communicating, it sounds like you're up to no good. I think that's what Florian is saying.
You don't understand what you're talking? You speak English? Or you like to take a class?
Relax. It's not worth it.
How you can be friends somebody dating you ex?
I don't know.
I know can be somebody with friends. I know can be somebody with friends. Like somebody date my ex-girlfriends. It's fucking bullshit. It's not my friends. No.
I will say now, obviously there's a language barrier to some extent with Florian. So who knows what he's intending on trying to communicate. But we've seen this side of him before, not only towards Stacy herself, but also towards Georgie this past season. And I will say either there's a huge language barrier or I don't know what he's trying. I don't understand what his point is. When he was yelling at Georgie during that time when they were kind of in that like pod outdoor thing. I just remember, I don't know if I showed the clip, but I just remember thinking Florian was yelling at Georgie saying, your fiancé is upset at you. Don't you understand? Your fiancé is upset at you. And as a viewer, I'm like, yeah, she's upset at you for no reason. Darcey's upset at Georgie for no reason. Florian, why are you yelling at Georgie? And what's your point? Yeah, I think we all understand that Darcey's upset with Georgie. Like, good observation. Thanks for. But again, there must be a language barrier. Maybe in that moment, Florian was trying to say, you need to pay attention to your fiancé because she's upset. Like you're not listening to her, or I'm guessing that's what he meant by it. But anyway, so in this moment, he's yelling. He seems very adamant about some criticism towards Jesse, but that Jesse is friends now. There was a little statement that Jesse said. He's like, I don't know who said anything about being friends. I was just communicating with her ex. I didn't say anything about being friends, but anyway.
More. For my culture, you know, can date, like somebody date my girl, I can be friends with a guy, never in my life. I don't know, for me, for my culture, for Albania.
Okay. I think Jesse is just like, okay, well, thanks for that. Florian is saying, in my culture, you can't do that. All right. Okay, that's good to know, I suppose.
And you yourself, being in that relationship, see the signs and the red flags if they are there. That's his own journey with Darcey.
This conversation, like, Georgie's fault, to be honest. Georgie, for
You think it was Georgie's fault for calling Jesse?
Yeah, 100% Georgie's fault.
He was upset that we met Octavia, so it was like, a clap back.
Yeah, I think that's a reason. Also, I think Georgie said that he was desperate for answers as to what was happening. I don't know why he would reach out to Jesse of all people, but yeah, it was revenge-like, if not full-on revenge. Like, well, you're going to do that to me, and you're not going to listen to me after I repeatedly tell you that hurts my feelings. I don't like it when you reach out to her and just believe everything she says. I mean, she's biased against me, and you just believe. You don't listen to me. You listen to this random person. And okay, fine, I'm going to show you how that feels. But then Georgie, when he did reach out to Jesse, and Jesse started talking crap about Darcey, Georgie's like, I think you're lying. I don't believe anything you're saying. Darcey's a good person, which I wish they would show that, because I'd love to see what Darcey would think of that.
There was nothing to discuss. Georgie knows every single thing about me. If he wanted to reach out to somebody to get to know me more, could have been my ex-husband, who I have 2 daughters with, someone that knows me. He doesn't know me. He's making up false stories. Never cheated on anybody in my life.
Jesse, you talk.
That is actually a good point, and something I didn't think about, because they never show their ex-husbands, but their ex-husbands would know them very well. 1, because they were with them for a long time, and 2, because they're still co-parenting, right, the children. So it is interesting to think that if Georgie really wanted to know more about Darcey, he reached out to the ex-husband. Now, I'm guessing the ex-husband doesn't want to be on the show, or they don't want him to be on the show or something, so that's why they didn't have a scene like that.
Talked to our producers about a hashtag that was on Twitter, hashtag Jesse was right. And you said it's not about that Jesse was right, it's about the fact that someone needs help. Do you feel that Darcey needs help?
Well, in that moment.
So absolutely, Darcey they all need help. We all need help. Sean needs help. Everyone, you need help. We all need help. Everyone get help. Yeah. Absolutely, Darcey needs help. Absolutely, right? Y'all. What does she need help for precisely? I don't know. I don't know her, but based on the show, a strong hypothesis and strong thing to pursue in therapy would be the schemas that she developed in her past that lead her to believe that she is unlovable and that she can't trust other people unless there are extravagant displays of romantic affection. I don't even want to say affection. It's like romantic gestures, fancy, blingy, romantic gestures. Like anything that is outside of that, it's not actual. The person, because of the lack of trust, there's a question mark there, and then it gets answered very quickly by the schema that she developed in the past that people don't love her and that she's not lovable. That's my guess.
We have addressed many, many things about getting help to get to a better place. And I even addressed, I paid for counselors. I paid for a trip to Greece. I paid for
You're lying.
To make sure that we get to a better place.
So Jesse's saying he paid for counselors for Darcey, and immediately Darcey's like, you're lying. And that does sound strange. It's interesting to hear Jesse. So who knows? Because we can't know. There's no way for us to know. But there's a possibility that Jesse is lying on a number of areas here. That there's evidence that Darcey was cheating on Jesse with Tom, that he paid for counselors, that Darcey's a manipulative person who plays with people and doesn't care about people. If anything, it seems like from the show, she cares too much to some extent, right? So it's interesting to think about. Now, if it's true and Darcey and Stacey are lying, which, I think there's a slight possibility of that. I guess that's interesting too. It's interesting to think about the possibilities. But if we go with the Jesse lying thing, I wonder what's going on there. I mean, it's been a while since I've watched the Jesse stuff, but, well, I'll just I don't know about Jesse, but I'll tell you about people that I've treated, and I'll tell you about partners of people I've treated, that some people, due to very consistent relational traumas when they're very young, will develop a constant need to establish that they know things and other people don't. And also, because of what's happening to them as children that cause them to be, rationally very suspicious of other people, they transfer that onto other people as adults, and will either distort in their minds and believe things about other people that aren't true, and then start talking about it. Like a common example from just everyday life that this would look like would be that a coworker of yours, is just 100% positive that you logged onto their computer and destroyed files or something, and you're just like, what? Like, I never did that. But your coworker feels some kind of suspicion around you, and then went to their computer and there was something wrong with their computer, and they just immediately drew that connection. It must have been that person. And then due to their distorted thinking, they actually believe that they saw you do it, or that they have hard evidence when they don't really. And that can result from a lot of different things. Or you can have somewhat, so that's one scenario and schema that can develop into the possibility of someone believing something that is just totally untrue, and they'll just make up facts. I saw them on my computer the other day, when it's just like, I've literally never been in your office, that kind of thing. The other pathway is I feel a certain way, and my feelings are so important, and everyone else doesn't matter. I am the center of the universe, and I feel like I did X, Y, and Z, and so therefore I did. And it just makes me sound better to say that. So I'm going to say it. And I might even convince myself that I believe it to be true, because it just sort of fits with how I feel, which is that I was the sane one. They were the crazy one. I did everything I could to save that person. And, here are 5 different data points. Maybe some of them are a little bit exaggerated, but it's, it gets to the point because I feel like I did all this thing, and that's all that really matters. I don't know what's happening here, though. Let's watch.
Lying.
So
the $500 each, I gave you cash for.
I can actually show you the invoice.
Gave him the cash.
You always say I'm lying. I think I'm getting a little tired of that.
Okay, interesting. So Darcey wasn't aghast at the counseling thing. It was that he paid for it. And she's like, no, I paid for my part in it. They went to counseling, the two of them? I feel like on the Bears All episodes, we learn about so much backstory. It's almost like this is produced by a different group of people that don't know, like, no, we didn't go into that. They went to counseling. I mean, that would have been interesting to learn details about, or at least know that happened, right?
Do you stand by that today? That you talked to her, Darcey, when she was with Georgie?
I didn't talk to her. I've never said that. I've received messages.
What are you talking about? I don't even have your freaking number. Where are you getting this information?
You don't have my number right now? How do you not have my number?
Excuse
you always
me?
have my number. How do you not have my number right now?
So, all right, who knows? I'm sort of getting a little weary of their back and forth. I tend to believe Darcey, but who knows? I mean, there's just no way to know. So he's saying that Darcey messaged Jesse while Darcey was with Georgie. This is in line with a lot of things that Jesse says and Darcey reacts. And I don't know. If I were Darcey, I'd be like, what? That didn't happen. And I just sort of let it lie, because it's almost like Jesse wants to kind of get into those fights with Darcey. He has ways of wording things to come at, this is reminiscent of their relationship when they would disagree about things. They would get into this verbal back and forth, and Jesse frequently would want to have the last word and would want to, almost like, and I don't know if this is true, but one hypothesis is that Jesse knew that if he provoked Darcey into an emotional display, he could come out on top like, well, I'm the calm one and you're the crazy one, and so everyone understands I'm superior. I don't know if that's what's happening right now, but let's watch.
Like, that's a little weird.
I don't have your number.
Like,
I don't
everything
reach
you're
out
denying,
to you.
everything is a lie. Everything is
my
like, now
God.
you don't have my number.
That all got deleted long time ago. Don't flatter yourself.
So, Darcey, did you ever
Yeah,
speak
of
to
course.
Jesse while you were with Georgie?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, we can't know. Darcey might have texted Jesse 1,000 times while she was with Georgie, but it doesn't seem to fit. It's possible, but why would she do that? It just does not fit. And if it were true, Jesse would say, look, I have it right here. Like, it's easy, just show the text. And there's so many reasons why she would do it, and it doesn't fit with anything. So if we believe Darcey, and Jesse's just making this stuff up, just inventing things, or he's so distorted he believes these things. It's interesting to think about. Again, this is just a total hypothesis, but I remember while watching him and Darcey, he seemed to be highly triggered by Darcey's drinking. And who knows to the extent of Darcey's drinking. She did seem, particularly back then, to get on the moderate to high level of intoxication when they would drink. But it didn't seem excessive. Well, who knows? But at any rate, Jesse seemed highly triggered by that. The hypothesis to that is that Jesse has alcoholism in his past. He's had family members who were having extreme ups and downs regarding their substance use, and that very much impacted him in a very scary negative way when he was young or felt powerless or something, maybe even abused. And when he sees drinking in someone else, it really scares him, and he sees something that isn't necessarily there, and his way of approaching that is to be superior and controlling and putting down, and there's something wrong with you, how dare you, that kind of thing. And when you are raised, and so I'm really going down speculations upon speculations, but when you're raised by someone who has a substance abuse problem, oftentimes, not all the time, the way that the person who suffers from the substance abuse problem acts can contradict reality often, meaning that they'll say, I'm going to take you to Disneyland tomorrow, and you're waiting and they don't show up. And then the next day you're like, you said you were going to take me to Disneyland yesterday. And your parent says, I never said that. And you're thinking, and that happens over, in more extreme ways over and over and over again. And as a child, you just get this neurological developmental pathway that doesn't include truth, that has a lot of untruths, that there is no establishment of reality. And so anything that you feel, it's okay to just believe, because it doesn't really matter, because nothing is real because of the way I was treated. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if that's the case for Jesse, but it's just something, I use this as a jumping off point. And so some of you might have actually suffered from that. Let me know in the comments if you have. And obviously talk with a therapist about that, because you deserve to heal from the trauma of having a parent who had chaos and maybe abuse because of their substance abuse problem. And you deserve to recover regarding your ability to know that there is such a thing as reality, and you can depend on certain things being true and other people agreeing with you.
That she reached out to my mom, and that I said, you need to stop contacting us and leave us alone.
What are you talking
don't
about?
Appreciate his behavior.
I have never reached out to you or your mother at any point in time during my relationship with Georgie. What are you talking about? The only time I talked to you guys was when we were kind of together, and then breaking up and together, and then breaking up and together.
Right. I tend to believe Darcey, she doesn't remember. She's not saying a date, but she's saying, there was a lag time after after we broke up that I was still kind of communicating because we were breaking up together. Yeah, that seems much more likely, but who knows? All right. Well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.